Welcome back to my show, Time with Dr. Nita. This is a show where we talk about women's health, our day-to-day health activities, problems that can arise, and ways of solving them. There are 3 stages of pregnancy, which are called trimesters. So we have the first trimester, we have the second trimester, and then we have the third trimester. The first trimester starts from the day of conception up to about 12 weeks, 6 days. And then the second trimester starts from 13 weeks, 0 days, up to 25 weeks, 6 days. The third trimester then starts from 26 weeks up until 40 weeks. At each stage of this trimester, there's a lot of developments of both the baby and the mother. The baby has to grow from this day of conception right up to the 40 weeks, and then the mother also has some bodily changes that would commensurate with these stages. So what happens in the first trimester? When the sperm and the egg meet, they form one cell, which will divide into 2. Then these 2 will divide into 4. The 4 will divide into 8, into 16. So it goes in that order gradually, and then it develops into the baby that we know. It's a very beautiful process. There are videos online which shows how the baby will grow from the time of the zygote formation right onto a human being that we can see and appreciate. And the size of the baby when it starts is even smaller than the head of a pin, very small. And I'll just talk about a few things that happen in this development. It's an exhaustive list, so as much as possible I'll talk about the ones that we come into contact with so that we can appreciate the growth of the baby and the changes the mother goes through. How would you know that you're pregnant? Every woman has a menstrual cycle. So depending on which number of days you have, whether a 28-day cycle, a 29 or a 30-day cycle. So what happens is that it starts with a missed period. Maybe you're supposed to get your period on a certain day. Then you realize that, oh, my period hasn't come on this day. And if you've done anything which would explain why your period hasn't come, then you will have a high suspicion of pregnancy. So what you do is that you have to wait. You know, we have these over-the-counter pregnancy test kits. They are equally as effective as what is done in the hospitals. But for the best results, it's best to wait for at least 5 days after your missed period. Then when you take the test, most likely if you have a positive test, it will show within the 5 days. What happens is that you buy your test kits. Most of them have a manual or what you are supposed to do. But the commonest ones we have around, either you pee on the stick or you take the urine sample and then you put in, there's a gutter on the test kit. So you put inside about 4 drops of your urine sample and then you add your reagents to it. Usually what they do is after this happens, you put the test kit down and then you give it about 5 minutes, after which you're supposed to read the results. There's a test bar and then there's a control bar. The control bar is what the manufacturer has produced, and then the test bar is what your urine sample will show. So if your urine sample shows a deep color, either brown or red, in addition to the control bar, then it shows that you are pregnant. There are other kits that say you are pregnant. There are other kits that say yes. Other kits that show a smiley face, that shows that you are pregnant. There are various forms of the pregnancy test kits. But at the end of the day, all they are supposed to prove is to show whether you are pregnant or not. The results are immediate, like I said. You don't need to wait for hours for it to happen. Within 5 minutes, you're supposed to get your results. Sometimes we may need to do a blood test for you. For that one, you will need to go to the hospital to get your blood test done. And those are when we are not sure about the viability of the baby that is forming inside you. What we do is that we take a blood sample, we test it for a substance inside called beta HCG. It's a long word, so let me just stick to HCG. Above a certain limit, or let's say pregnancy of certain weeks, corresponds to a certain value of your HCG. So when that happens, we will know whether this pregnancy is viable or not. When it comes to twins, triplets, or multiple order pregnancy, the HCG may go up to more than the value that is needed for a singleton, and that will make us have an idea whether it's a twin pregnancy or let me say a multiple order pregnancy.